Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest album from Avatarium, The Fire I Long For, out November 22nd on Nuclear Blast. This album has 9 tracks, 44 minutes in length, and this is the band's 4th full-length studio album. First impression, which it was my first impression, but then the more I listened to the album, the more it became obvious to me, is that this, in my opinion, is not a doom metal album, at least not from the traditional sense of that style, of that genre. To me, this is rather a doom-driven record that incorporates other genres and pulls from those genres and from their sound into the mix, and then it wraps it all up with this doom blanket. So in my opinion, it's a doom-driven record, not necessarily a regular traditional doom album. This album, as far as genres are concerned, it really incorporates a lot in a really eclectic mix of sound and styles. You're going to get a little bit of folk, you're going to get a little bit of jazz, a little bit of pop, a little bit of psychedelic, even country music. There's a little bit of a feel of that there. So it's an album that has a very eclectic sound. It really has no boundaries as far as the sound is concerned, as far as the style of individual songs are concerned. It really goes anywhere and everywhere. The only common denominator is that doom string that really ties itself around each and every single song. And that allows the album to feel very concise and to feel as one, and not a record with 9 broken tracks that don't feel like there's any connection between them. That's not the case. As far as the sound is concerned, that's definitely not the case. For as eclectic as the album is, it still stays together, it still stays unified from the first all the way to the last song, giving almost the feel of a more modern doom sound to the overall album. Now, the structure of the album to me is very important because in my mind it played a very important role on how this album progresses from the first all the way to the last song. I really like what they did with the structure of the album. I liked what they did with the individual structure of the songs. But this is a record that immediately, when I started listening to it, I felt like it was growing as it was moving along. It's an album that it starts off on a more traditional doom sense. It has more of a traditional doom sound as it starts. But after the first song, you could start to feel the influences coming in. You should start to feel the growth in the sound, the growth in the atmosphere of the album. You start to feel the album pulling in different directions. Still staying within a path, but it's not a narrow path. It's a really wide driven path. So, but you feel this growth. There's this sense of moving along, of learning something from the previous song, taking that experience into the next track, and then the one after that taking the experience from the 2 tracks previously, and so forth and so forth. So there's a sense of growth, there's a sense of learning, there's a sense of evolution with every single song on this album. You can almost look back into the previous tracks and find certain elements that were predominant in previous songs, now not as predominant in the track that you're listening to, but still playing a role in that song and how the song structure is put together and how the sound of the song comes across. So from that perspective, it's a very eclectic, but an album that has a lot of moving parts. It's really a living and breathing organism, and it seems to become bigger and bigger with every song that passes. I really love that about the record because it really allows you to go on a journey with the album. It really allows you to get lost within it. And then when you have music that is this dark, this deep, this melancholic, and at the same time very melodic, the combination of factors is absolutely magnificent. It really allows you to lose yourself in it. And then when you have a record that has that sense of growth, you just feel, as a listener, you growing as well with your own taste, with your own appreciation of the songs as the album progresses. To me, that is one of the key fundamental aspects of this record, and to me, one of the most important aspects of this album. 2 other elements that, in my opinion, really deserve some mention is the guitars and vocals. To me, those 2 are not taking a backseat to the overall structure and sound of the record, but those are 2 elements that I feel that, while not perhaps being in the forefront, at least for me, they were key elements, but they were not necessarily as important as the overall structure of the record. But there's still 2 elements that play a huge factor, a huge role on the sound, on the feel, and how the structure plays out on this album. Let's start off with the guitars. I really like the guitar melodies. I like the approach. I like the sound. I like how on point they are on every single song. It's magnificent guitar work. And it's not that kind of guitar feel that you get, that sound that's in your face, that's really present, that it's really screaming at you. It's really subdued, but it still feels like one of the main life components of the record that really supports the overall building of this record. Like it's the foundations, one of the foundations of this album. But the fact that it's not in your face, the fact that it's not necessarily really screaming at you with over-the-top solos or very intricate melodies, to me that's important, because to me this is an album that has so much to offer that you don't need one component to be above all others. You need all of them to play their role, to be kind of like at par with each other. And to me, the way the guitars are put together on this album really offers that. It really offers the perfect partner to the vocals, which is the second element that I mentioned. I really love the vocals on this album. Melodic, haunting. They really add texture to the songs. They add emotion to the lyrics, and they are the perfect companion to the way the guitars are put together on the album. Those two elements are the 1-2 punch on this record, and then overall above it, you have, just slightly above it, you have the overall structure that this album has to offer. When you put these three components together, you really have a trifecta that's coming together to give you a very solid record from the first to the last song, a record that just feels like a heartbeat with every single song. Every single song gives you that feel. Every single song pushes you forward. Every single song holds your hand and allows you to move towards the next one. Absolutely magnificent record. Really captivating, really mesmerizing, really haunting, beautiful and melodic all at the same time. Now, as far as songs is concerned, I try to pick 3 songs that offer something different from each other, that offer different components, different elements. And I want to start with Lay Me Down. A more acoustic, stripped down song. I absolutely love the melody that this song has. I love the approach that the song has. The guitar melody has this heart and soul feel to it, but with a doom blanket over it. It's at some points in time when you're listening to this song, you almost feel like you're listening to a doom country song. I know this sounds really strange, but there's a lot of country music aspects from that genre built into this track. It has that feel, that southern vibe to it, but with a doom blanket over, with a little bit of a sprinkle of doom in it. So it enhances the feel, it enhances the atmosphere, it also enhances the emotion that the lyrics have. Because normally country songs are very emotional, are emotionally driven. This is a song that's very emotionally driven. So it makes sense that they went with that style, with that genre as a baseline to create a song that has this much emotion built into it. I absolutely love it. It has melancholic moments into it. It has dark moments to it. It has beautiful melodic moments to it. It's a song that offers almost a little bit of everything. Another key component of this song is the using of male backing vocals behind the vocals. It really adds volume. It adds presence. It makes the lyrics more impactful. Makes the lyrics darker. This is a song that, in my opinion, really in its beauty, it hides a lot of darkness, because overall it's a very beautiful song, great melody, but when you start to like peel the layers, you can feel so much darkness, so much sorrow in the beauty that the song has, in the melody that the song has. Another track I want to mention is Porcelain Skull, a song that's very different from that one. It's almost a more traditional doom track. From the beginning all the way through, it just has all those more traditional doom components built into it. It's a song that perhaps has one small exception, and that is the chorus. I felt that in the chorus is very short, very bright. It almost has a pop feel to the chorus, and that is perhaps the only little moment of the song where you don't get that more traditional doom feel, because everywhere else it's really a drag down, like pulling a body through the mud kind of song that has that sort of melancholic feel to it, that darkness to it. The vocals make the riff of the song sound even slower and heavier. So the two elements of vocals and guitars are really the 1-2 punch, not only throughout the record. In this song, it becomes very, very noticeable, because the two just really work with each other extremely well to give that overall feel that the song needs. The guitar solo in this song pulls darkness from the song, and it adds a little bit of a taste of rock and roll to it. So it's almost a rock and roll guitar solo with dark, perhaps darker overtones to it. So I really like that feel. I really like what the guitar solo gave to the song. It really enhanced the overall vibe that you were getting from the beginning of the track all the way to the end. The solo just kind of like brings it into the forefront. It makes it more noticeable. Absolutely incredible track. Last but not least, The Fire I Long For, also the name of the album. A song that, in my opinion, is my favorite. Well, I'm going to say it's the best song on the album. I hate doing that, but it's definitely my favorite song on the album. This song, it has a contagious melody to it, has a little bit of a stripped down feel, but at the same time still has a lot of doom elements into it. It's almost a song that incorporates Lay Me Down and Porcelain Skull. It kind of takes a little bit of those two songs and incorporates it into this one. And this is something I mentioned before about the structure on how they created songs that almost feel like pull elements from previous songs and keep adjusting them as they move along within the record. So this song kind of has a feel of those two. The stripped down aspect of the song with the different guitar approaches, the different guitar sounds really adds a lot of life, a lot of melody, a lot of despair at times to this song. I really like it. Has a lot of emotion built into it. It's a very powerful emotional track, and that really drips out of the lyrics. It really comes across. It really comes across in the performance, the way the vocals bring those lyrics to life. It's very noticeable. The solo of this song is very different from the solo in Porcelain Skull. In Porcelain Skull, I felt that the solo just pulled from the emotion that the song had, and then it expanded on it. It didn't change it, it just made it more noticeable. In this song, I felt the solo went on a completely different direction. This song to me feels like to be very dark, very gloomy, and the solo is just light. It's the sun coming into a dark room and just brightening up the day. That's how the solo feels on this track. It goes complete opposite of the melody, of the overall atmosphere that the song has. It just goes in a completely different direction, but it really works well because it gives the song this needed jolt of air, of energy, of light, of brightness. So I really love what they did with this solo, and like I said, my favorite track on the album. I absolutely love this song. Alright guys, this is it. This is the new album from Avatarium, The Fire I Long For, out November 22nd on Nuclear Blast. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those as always and getting back to you. Take care, guys.